Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Manic Monday. This is episode 7. I'm going to dive back into the relationship storyline of my stormy relationships that I started. I left off with the guy that took my virginity. He came back with a girlfriend, so now I'm just theoretically speaking during this time. I'm just either by myself or I'm pointlessly dating people just for casual hookups. So the beginning of my senior year comes around and I put an end to the random hookups because I kept choosing guys that were either inappropriate or, you know, that I wasn't compatible with, is what I'm looking for. I mentioned in episode 5, I don't know for sure, but I believe I mentioned that a couple of the guys that I started hooking up with were friends with my brother. So aside from the guy that took my virginity, who's also a friend of my brother, I also engaged in casual dating with a couple of his other friends. So my brother found out about the second friend that I hooked up with during that summer. He put it into that immediately. I'm pretty sure I mentioned that in episode 5. And then the beginning of my senior year, I kind of wanted to focus on my studies. So I kind of put it into the casual dating thing because it was getting in the way of me focusing. So once school started and I went to the dance, it was time to go to homecoming, me and a couple of my other friends were we kind of want to enjoy this last dance of one of our last dances. So we don't care if we don't have a date, we're going to go. And I wasn't looking for a date. My friend just so happened wasn't looking for a date. And then two of our other friends also was like, let's just go as a group. None of us have or want dates. So let's just go together. So that's what we did. And it was nice. And then I met this guy. He walked up to me on the dance floor during a slow song. He asked for a dance. We exchanged numbers. After that night, we were pretty much inseparable. He instantly started texting me. As soon as the dance was over, we were back and forth, a whole bunch of messages nonstop. And he's just now that I've met you, I'm not gonna let you go. You sound like a great girl. I would love for you to be my girlfriend. So this is the same night of the dance. He asked me to be his girlfriend. I'm like, whoa, I don't even really know you like that. So we got to talk some more. And he agreed. So about 2 or 3 weeks passed. We went to the movies, had a date. And finally I was like, okay, I think we're good. I think I know enough about you to date you. So let's make it official. We started dating around the last week of October, beginning of November. I remember because Thanksgiving was coming up, and by the time Thanksgiving came, we were a couple. Brought him over to the house. He met the family. The family liked him because he was reserved, respectful, and he was very honest about his past and stuff, how he ended up in the group home and what type of trouble he was getting into and how he wanted to change his life around. And he felt like I would be a good girlfriend to help him alongside while he did that for himself. So, everybody okayed it. We were cool. We were a couple. And then it just started going downhill after that. The first red flag was when he asked to move in. Now, this is after a month of us dating. So it's beginning of December. And he's telling me about all of this trouble his little brother's getting into in the group home. And every time his little brother gets in trouble, he gets in trouble because he's running to his rescue. He just needs an escape. If he was in a better environment, then he would be able to focus on his goals and better himself. But his little brother was dragging him down. This is how he made it seem. So my parents, being my parents, offered him to move in since, he felt like he was trapped and had nowhere to go. So he moves in, and at this point, I guess he was like super comfortable with the fact that I was his girlfriend, and he thought that he could just get away with anything. So now that he's moved in, he's barely coming home. He's out late. He's disrespecting the curfew my parents set. Just like, doing whatever he wanted to do. So now my parents are getting to the point where it's like, you got to talk to your boyfriend or he's going to get put out. So I talked to him about it. I let him know, like, look, when you were moved in, we expected you to be there. Like, we expected you to respect the boundaries that we set. We expected you to be present. Now that you have a stable home that you can come home to, you're supposed to be there. And he wasn't. He was out hanging out with the boys or doing stuff that he wouldn't tell me he was doing. Like, just don't worry about it. He would tell me stuff like, don't worry about what I'm doing. I'll be home. And sometimes he wouldn't even come home, like I said. So it was just like a lot of issues that we were starting to have. And then it turned into him staying out late and like not saying anything at all. So it was a point where I wrote this letter to him, like, I think we should break up because I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what I'm doing wrong for you not to come home. Like, what is the issue? We have food. You get to cuddle with me. I mean, we just can't do the do, which is cool because it's my parents' house. We have to respect that. But everything else we're allowed to do. So, like, why are you not reaping the benefits of this? So he wrote a letter back like, I'm so sorry. I know I've been fucking up. I'm going to make it better, blah, blah, blah. So one night he comes over and we're like looking for jobs for him to apply to because one of the stipulations of him moving in was to have a job alongside going to school and if they needed to help with the bills. So that was like cool because I had a job too. So it's like we could put something together, give it to my parents, blase, blase. Like it was cool. But he just like fucked it over. So we're sitting there looking for him a job on his phone to apply to. He goes to the bathroom. I'm still on Indeed. He gets a Facebook message. Me being the girlfriend I was, I'm suspicious. I want to know who it is. If it's somebody trying to reach him and it's an emergency, then I can just text him back, whatever. Let them know like he's, he'll come back. He'll reach you when it's possible. It's a female. So not only is it a female, but it's a female that we go to school with. So you're fucking with somebody, something that we both know. So now I'm curious. Her message says, hey baby, I miss you. I'm reading these messages. So I get to scrolling and they've been hooking up, hanging out. He's been selling her stuff because he was a drug dealer, come to find out. So that's why he wasn't coming home. And that's why he wasn't answering the phone when I would ask him what he's doing, because he was dealing drugs. And so I wait till he comes from the bathroom and I show him. I'm like, what the fuck is this? So you're fucking Desiree? And I put him out, and he didn't take his stuff because it was a quick exchange. Like, boom, showed him the messages. He lied. I started raising my voice. We're arguing. Get the fuck out, because now we're yelling at each other in my parents' house. And I'm not finna make this a whole issue. I hate it when everybody in the house knew what was going on in my personal life. I did. So I wanted to make sure nobody found out. And this was definitely going to get some attention. So I'm like, you got to go. Just go. Just go. I don't want to hear it. Whatever. Put him out. Lock the door. My parents are like, what's going on? What's the matter? So I break down crying. I let them know, like, I just saw this, and this in his phone. They're like, aw, you don't deserve that. Break up with him. They're telling me, like, get rid of this man already. Like, he ain't doing right anyway. So a couple days go by. We're texting. And he's like apologizing. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have did that. Blase, blase. His stuff is still there. So I'm just like, okay, maybe we can work through it or something, because I really loved him, or I thought I did. So I was just like, I don't want to break up with you, but like, yeah, that hurt me that you was cheating on me. And this just goes to show like how low my self-esteem was, that I was willing to put up with this shit at like 16, 17 years old. Like, who is this guy? He's not fucking Gandhi or fucking, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's not somebody to be fighting for, but I thought he was. So we agreed to make things work. He still is not coming back to the house because he thinks my parents are mad at him too. But one night, he's experiencing an emergency. Like, the way he's texting me is frantic. He's like, I need to come over. Please, baby, can you please ask your parents? Can I spend the night tonight? I know, you know, they're mad at me right now, but I just need somewhere to go. I'm like, yeah, come over. If you're not feeling well, I can nurse you back to health. You can stay this one night, but I don't know about the rest of the week. So he comes, and he's sick as a dog. And I never really use that phrase because you like got to be really, really sick to be sick as a dog, as my grandma used to put it. He was sick as a dog. And this is like the end of December. So I'm thinking like he has a flu, or he's fighting off like a virus. Maybe he ate something bad, because he came, when I opened the door, he stumbled into my arms. He's bigger than me, like he's taller than me. So like when he fell on me, I almost fell. So I drag him to my room. Hurry up, go close the door, the front door, come back to my room. Like, what is wrong? Like, what happened? What did you eat? Did you eat today? Have you been throwing up? Are you having diarrhea? Like, I'm schooling him like the nurses do in the emergency room, trying to figure out what the fuck is wrong. Do I need to give him medicine? Does he need to sleep? Does he need to eat? What is happening? I'm asking him questions, and he's like barely able to answer some of them. And then some of the questions I'm asking him, he gives me a weird answer, like nothing that has to do with what I asked him. Like, for instance, I asked him like, does your stomach hurt? And he said something like, don't let him take me. Oh my God. Like, he just was like saying crazy shit. So I'm like, what the hell? So my mom is hearing the commotion, and she's texting me from upstairs, and she's like, is everything okay? Like, did he make it safe? What's going on? I hear a lot of groaning. She's thinking that we're doing like the nasty. And I'm like, no, like, Ma, he's really sick. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what to do. She said, try to feed him. Okay, cool. So I'm like, let me make you some noodles or some soup or something. He's like, no, I can't eat. I can't eat. Every time I eat, I throw up. I'm like, no way. I'm like, aren't you hungry? Yeah, I am hungry, but I'm scared to eat because I'm going to throw up. I said, okay, well, what is it that you want? What do you need? We have water. Like, what can I do to make you feel better? Because this is freaking me out. And he's like, hot Cheetos. So, okay, whatever, as long as you eat. So this will give me some type of compass as to where we are and what we need to do for you. So I'm like, okay, fine, Cheetos it is. So I get my little hot Cheetos and I give him some. He eats like 2 chips, instantly starts throwing up green shit. Okay, so I text my mom. I'm like, just tried to feed him, did not go well. He threw up the noodles and he threw up the Cheetos. So she's like, I don't know. Ask your dad. So I'm like, what the fuck? My stepdad is at work. Like, he works nights. So I'm texting my dad from work. Like, I think I need you to come home. My boyfriend just came over. He's sick. Nothing me and mom are doing is working. And we feel like you would know what to do. So he's like, keep him there. I'm coming home from work. I let him know, like, hey, you have nothing to worry about. My stepdad's gonna come home from work. He's gonna check you out, and from there we're gonna determine like if you need to go to the hospital or if you need to stay here. That lit fire under his ass. Sick and all, he's still stumbling, don't know where he's going. He's running into the walls, the doors. Oh, I gotta go. No, don't call your dad. I gotta go. So I'm like, no, don't leave. Where are you gonna go? You're sick, and this is where you live. I know you're not gonna stumble to the group home, which is like 15 miles away, like this. And then if the police see you like this, they're gonna try to arrest you. Like, so like, we need to keep you here and keep you safe and nurture you. He wasn't trying to hear that. Before my stepdad even made it home, he was out the front door. Like, as soon as I told him that he was gonna come, he was gone. So my mom's like, well, what happened? Did you leave? Because she heard the door close. And I'm like, no, he left. Stepdad gets home and he's like, sit down, I got to talk to you. And I'm like, what? Sit down, I got to talk to you. I'm like, okay. So I sit down, I pause my little Netflix or whatever I was watching at the time. And he's like, tell me everything. So I explained to him how he showed up, what he did, when he ate, what happened, and how I told him when he was coming, he left. And he's like, I knew it. And I'm like, you knew what? He's like, I knew it. I'm like, just tell me, what are you talking about? So apparently my stepdad has a coworker, and the coworker informed him that he recognized my boyfriend from dealing drugs in the street. He also recognized him as a heroin addict. This is news to me because I'm pretty much oblivious to what's obvious. My family describes it as me being naive. I say it's a mix of both, but I had no idea. I've never been around anyone on heroin. I've never indulged in heroin myself, so I don't know what it looks like. But my stepdad in his younger days was a drug dealer, was around hypes and things like that, so he knows like what it is and what it looks like. So he's pretty much explained to me like, yeah, he's throwing up because of this and this, there's side effects, and this is why he didn't want me to see him like he was, because he knew that I would know. So I'm just like taking this all in. I break down, because how do you take that? Like, first we move him in, then he's cheating on me, now he has a drug habit. Like, oh my God. So I didn't believe my stepdad, of course. I was angry that he even insinuated that he was using drugs. And I said, no, that can't be it. Like, we're in winter season. Everybody gets sick in the winter. You can't just assume that it's because of drugs. Didn't want to hear it. So we're still communicating. We're still dating. He comes over again for, it was New Year's Eve, because the guy that took my virginity came home from trade school to hang out with my brother, and this was like the first time that he got to meet the guy that I was dating. So he comes over, we're in the car smoking, and you know, he freaks out like on everybody. I forgot what exactly was said and what specifically, but it was like uncalled for. I just know that like we were having a regular conversation, and then he just started flipping out like in the middle of our conversation. And I'm telling him like, calm down, babe. Like, it's cool. These, you know, this is my brother and his friend. Like, nobody's judging you. No one's around. It's fine. Like, relax. I forgot what exactly he flipped out over, but it was like uncalled for. And then he just got out of the car and started walking to wherever. So around this time, I'm also saving money so that I can buy this, was it a sticker? I think it was a sticker that I needed for the family van in order for me to keep driving it to work. I needed to have this sticker or this plate thing. I believe it was the sticker for the license plates. So I was saving up like $200 so I could pay for it. He leaves. We go back in the house. Something just told me, like, you know, you have that nagging feeling, your subconscious. It was just telling me like, check my wallet, just to make sure I still had the $200 there for the sticker. So I'm like, okay, whatever, because I'm, you know, a part of BPD is splurging, like making poor financial decisions. And I used to impulsively buy a lot, food mostly, but every now and then it would be like certain things that I would see in the store, and then it would just like add up to like $100. So I just wanted to make sure that I had the money there. It was gone. Every bill that I had in my wallet was gone. And that's when I realized, yeah, he has a drug habit. My stepdad was right. Once again, I'm the idiot. So I'm pissed. I start flipping out. My brother comes, checks on me first. He's like, what's wrong? I said, that motherfucker took off with my sticker money. So from that point on, like, I knew like whatever we had going on was over. Like, it was done. So I sent him a text message because I knew I wasn't going to see him again. I'm like, I know you took my money from my plates. You cheated on me. My parents moved you in and you didn't appreciate it. And you disrespected us along the way. We're done. We're through. I don't want to hear any of the excuses. I don't want to hear any of the apologies. It's over. Weeks maybe like 1 or 2 weeks go by, and he's like pretty much talking to himself in my DMs. Oh, please, I'm so sorry. It wasn't me. What money? I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, I took it, but I'm sorry. I needed it. Blah, blah, blah. I thought your money was my money. Your stuff was my stuff. My stuff is your stuff, type thing. And I'm like, no, you don't do that. You don't steal from your significant other. That was pretty much the last straw. When I saw him again, he popped up at the house because, like I said, I wasn't replying to his messages. Like, I knew it was over, and he wasn't coming to school either. So I didn't know what the fuck was going on with him anymore, and I just felt like it was easier for me to not give a fuck, or to pretend like I didn't give a fuck. But on the inside, I was like, what the hell? Why do I keep picking crazy? So he shows up at the house unannounced. I want to talk to Deanna. I'm leaving. This is my last day in this town. I want to talk to her. I want to say goodbye the proper way. So finally, my stepdad calls me out of my room, and he's like, you have a visitor. So I'm like, oh my God, it's this guy. I said, okay, I'll hear you out. You have 2 minutes. He's begging. He sung a song. He fell on his knees. He was crying. I'm like, look, you still cheated on me. You stole from me. And you have a hidden drug addiction. No, I'm only 17. I'm not built to deal with this. We have to break up. You have to go your way. I have to go my way. But if we stay together, it's going to be no bueno, especially for me, because I'm going to be sacrificing the most. We're good. We don't need to be together. So about 3 hours go by, and he finally gets it. He's like, well, if you change your mind, I'll always love you, and I'll always be thinking about you, and you can always come back. I just slammed the door in his face, like Martin style. Like, I was not trying to hear that shit at all. So that was the end of that relationship, and pretty much the effect it had on me was the same effect that losing my virginity and the guy disappearing had. So like, I fell into another dark hole, and I was telling myself to get used to being alone, because I just wasn't picking right. So I was just like, I might as well just get used to being single. And then I'm young too, so I should be focusing on like college admissions and what I'm going to do with my future, things like that. Let me just leave the boys alone. And that didn't last long, because by that spring, I was now messing with a 21, 22-year-old guy that I had met initially when I was 15. He messaged me on Facebook, told me I was too young. And then when I turned 18 in April, he hit me up like, guess you're legal now. And now looking back at it, I'm like, wow, was this guy a perv? But anyways, this guy, we're not in a relationship. I'm already in the mindset of I'm not claiming anybody else. So this is just going to be casual. And I think I'm going to end episode 7 there. And then I'll talk about this guy in episode 8, because he definitely needs an episode by himself, because his storyline stretches just like the guy that took my virginity. These guys, the guy that took my virginity and the guy that I met after my 18th birthday, have some reoccurrences in my life. So thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed another Manic Monday story time, and I'll see you next week.